I want to multiply a monomial like 3x squared times 2x cubed. Do you remember how we did that? If not, no big deal. What you see here is 3 times x squared. That's what 3x squared. And you're going to multiply that by 2x cubed. That means 2 times x to the third. That's what that means. And when you're multiplying 4 things, it really doesn't matter which one you write first. So I could take, let's see if I can get you some light. I could just take the numbers. Tony, how are you? I sent him an email. I'll send you a copy of that. No, the 2 rooms supposed to stay the same. No change in them. Somebody screwed up. Yep. We'll find out. So I decided to move them around. If I move them around, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you multiply the 2 times the 3, what are you going to have? What's 2 times 3? 6. Very good. And if you multiply x to the second times x to the third, what do you do with the exponents when you multiply? Add them. Yeah, you're back. X to the fifth. So your answer is going to be what? 6x to the fifth. So when you're multiplying, instead of going through all this process, which takes half a page, so when you want to multiply a monomial times a monomial, like this one, again, the same problem, here's the easiest thing to do. Take the 2 numbers that you see in the bottom, you see right here, the red line going to them, and multiply these numbers. And take the 2 exponents here and do what with them? Add them. So let's apply that. What's 3 times 2? 6. X to what power? 2 plus 3, which is what? 5 in one step. Multiply the numbers, add the exponents. Let's try another one. Negative 2x times negative 8x to the third. Let's apply that logic there. Multiply the 2 numbers here. What is negative 2 times a negative 8? 16. Very good, Carl. Now let's add the exponents. What do we have?
4.
Why 4?
Because there's a 1 in it.
Very good. There's a 1 here. We just don't put it. What's 1 plus 3? 4. 16x to the fourth. Negative 10 x squared, another one, times 4x to the third. Multiply the 2 numbers. That's what? Negative 40, good. X to what power? Add the exponents. So we always add the exponents. So 3 and 2, which is 5. Negative 40x to the fifth. Multiply the numbers, add the exponents. Let's make it a little bit bigger there. I have negative 2x to the third y times negative 4x squared y to the fourth times, one more, 10xy. Here's the good news. When we multiply two numbers, so multiply the numbers, add the exponents. What happens when you have three polynomials? Still the same procedure. Multiply the numbers. So it's -2 times a -4 times a 10. What's -2 times a -4? Try again. You're multiplying. Plus 8. 8 times 10? 80. What do we do with the exponents? We add them. Let's look at the x. What do we have for x? 3, 2, and 1. Because there's a 1 here, just don't put it. 3 plus 2 plus 1. What's 3 plus 2 plus 1? 6. Let's look at y. 1 plus 4 plus 1, which is what? 6. 80, x to the 6, y to the 6. Another one with multiple pieces. 7 ab squared times 10a squared b to the third times -5a. Let's multiply the numbers. 7 times 10, 70 times a -5. Is that -150? Oh no, it can't be. 350? -350. We have a and b. Let's add the exponents for a. For a, we have a 1 here. We have a 1 here. So 1 plus 2 plus 1. How many? 4. And for b, what do we have? 5. Good.
Like half of Boston Road shut down.
Oh, why?
They're doing it.
Construction? Yeah. Did you tell them who you are? You going to my class? Open the road for you? Yes. What about when you have power? What was the rule for power? Power to power, you do what? You multiply. So, but let me show you why it's in multiplication here. -3p squared r, the whole thing cubed. What that means when you look at it, it says multiply that expression or that monomial by itself how many times? 3 times, right? That's what that means. Multiply it by itself 3 times. Again, let's multiply the numbers. What's a -3 times a -3? +9 times a -3? -27, Jamie. Good. P to what power? We add the exponents. 2 plus 2 plus 2. 6. And r to what power? 1 plus 1 plus 1. 3. The only problem with that, what are you going to do if this is the power of 30? You're going to multiply 30 times? So maybe we should look at this problem differently. I'm going to do the problem a different way. going to get the same answer. The rule for power to power, what do? You multiply. So when you look at the negative 3 right now, what is the power of negative 3 as of now, before we do anything to it? 1. So that's negative 3 to the power of 1 times 3, which is what? 3. P to what power? 2 times 3, which is what? 6. And R to what power? 1 times 3, 3. So I get this piece and I get that piece. The only thing left is the negative 3 to the third power. That's a negative 3 times a negative 3 times a negative 3 3 times. And that's where the negative 27 comes in. So a lot of people will do this problem this way instead of that way. Another one, negative 5x y squared squared. I'm going to do them this way, that's quicker, the second way, second method. So that's negative 5 to what power? To the power of 2. X to what power? Because there's a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. And y to what power? 2 times 2? 4. And what is negative 5 when you square it? That's a negative 5 times a negative 5, which is? Positive 25. Good. And that's my answer. So far, every problem I did was one term times one term, monomial times monomial. So what about when you have a monomial times a polynomial? So let's make them bigger. But if you understood this, the rest is going to be a piece of cake. Boston cream cake. Or cannoli cake. I just had cannoli cake for breakfast. It's horrible. After my workout. This is a monomial times a binomial. One term times two terms. So what we're going to do is grab that 7x in the front and multiply it by this first, then multiply it by that second. That's what we're going to do. Now let's multiply this times this. What's 7x times 9x squared? We just finished multiplying a monomial by a monomial. We said, what do you do with the numbers? You multiply the numbers and add the exponents. So what are we going to have? 7 times 9? 63x to what power? Try again, Jamie. Third. 63x to the third. Why 3? Because you got to add your exponents. There's a 1 and there's 2 here. When you add them, that's a 3. Next, we're going to take this and multiply it by the 5. What is 7x times 5? 35x. And that's the answer of that one. So we take the 7x, we multiply it through every one of these. Doesn't matter how many you have there. Let's try another example. Negative 8x plus 9 times negative 3x squared. Now me personally, I don't like that monomial to be at the end. I like it in the front, but it really doesn't make a difference. You're going to grab that one term and multiply it through it. So I'm going to take this one, multiply it by this, then I'm going to multiply it by that. So let me cover this first. Let's multiply these two. What's negative 3x squared times negative 8x?
Positive 24x.
24x to the third. Positive. Good. Then next, let me take this one multiplied by the 9. Cover that one. What's negative 3x squared times a plus 9?
Negative 27 x to the third.
Negative 27x to what?
Third?
Try again.
I'm sorry. Wait. Nope.
Second. This does not have x to. Negative 27x to the second. Let's try another one. 3p squared q times 5p to the third minus 2pq plus q to the third. Take this one and multiply through the first one, multiply through the second one, and multiply through the third one. So let's see. Let's take the first one. Here we go. 3p squared q times 5p cubed. That will give me what? 15, yep. P to the fifth, good. Q. 15, p to the fifth, you add the exponent, and q. Now the second piece. Let's multiply this one, 3p squared q times negative 2pq. That'll give me what?
Negative 6.
Negative 6.
P to the third.
P to the third.
And q.
Try again for the q.
To the second.
Q to the second. Negative 6. 3 times a negative 2, negative 6. Add the exponents for p. 1 and 2, that's 3. Add the exponents for q. 1 and 1, 2. And now the last one. Cover the first two and multiply those.
3p to the second. Q to the fourth.
Yep, 3p to the second, positive, right? 3p to the second, q to the fourth. Because there's no p to add to in this one, and 1 and 3, that'll make it a 4. Let's simplify this problem. Combine what we did today in last class. 8x to the second times 3x plus 1 plus x squared times 5x squared minus 6x plus the 5. So I'm combining today's class with last class. Last class we learned how to add and subtract. Today is the multiplication. Remember, order of operation, you got to do the multiplication before the addition. Which means I got to take this one, multiply it by this, and multiply it by that. Then I'm going to take this one, I'm going to multiply it by this, and by that one. I got to do the multiplication before the addition. Let me find the answer to each one. So let's see. What is 8x squared times 3x?
24x to the third.
24x to the third. What is 8x squared times plus 1?
8x
Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive 8x squared. Because you have to put an operation here. You can't just write 8x squared. It has to be a plus or minus. Bless you. Here's the plus sign. I'm leaving the sign plus. Let's take the x squared multiplied by all of these. What's x squared times 5x squared? Good. 5x to the fourth. What is x squared times a negative 6x? X to the 3. Good. And what is x squared times the plus 5?
5x squared.
And now we're going to add them. We have to look for like terms. Notice x to the fourth. I like to write the answer in descending power. X to the fourth, there's nothing to add to it, right? That's the only one with x to the fourth, so it stays. What about x to the third? I see this one, and I see this. What is 24 minus 6? 18. X to what power? When you add, do you change the power of x? No. And now let's look at the x squared. Eight and 5, which is what?
15.
X squared. And that'll be my answer. Okay. The next thing you're probably thinking about, what about if the front is not a one term, this one? What about if it's two terms or three terms? If you're multiplying 2 by 2. So let's look at those cases. Let's say I want to multiply 3x plus 1 times 5x minus 2. Well, what we're going to do in this case, grab the first one here, which is the 3x. Take the 3x multiplied by the 5x and multiplied by the negative 2. So let's take the 3x. What's 3x times 5x? 15 what? Try again. X squared. 3x times a minus 2. Negative 6x. Good. So we took the first term in this, we multiplied through. We finished. Now grab the plus 1 and multiply through. What is 1 times 5x? Plus, right? And what's 1 times a negative 2? Can I simplify my answer? That's what? 15x squared. What's negative 6x plus 5x? Negative x. There's the minus 2. There's a name for this method. Well-known name. I'm sure you heard that name before. When you're multiplying two terms, a binomial by a binomial. Anyone knows what that is called? It's 4 letters. How about the FOIL? F-O-I-L. FOIL. What does the F stands for? Let me make it here bigger so you get to see it. So I can write big here. The first thing we multiply is what? The 3x times the 3x. So that's the first. We took the first of this with the first of that. That's where the F came from. first. Next thing, the FOIL. We took this one and we multiply it by that one. The O stands for the outer one. We took the outer of this times the outer of that. Next, we took the 1, we multiplied it by the 5x. That's the I for inner. We took the inner of each one, we multiply them. And the last thing we did, we took this times that, and that's what? The last. First, outer, inner, last. Some people call it first, outside, inside, last. The FOIL. You hear the word FOIL a lot. So when you're multiplying, this method only works when you're multiplying 2 terms by 2 terms. If it's 2 times 3, it's going to be 6 of them. It can't be FOIL. FOIL is only 4 things. So it has to be 2 times 2. But the idea will be the same. Let's try another one. Eight x plus 3 times 2x minus 1. Again, 2 terms by 2 terms, use the FOIL method. Which says grab the first times the first. 3x times 2x, which is what? 16x squared. Good. That's the F. The O, negative 8x. The I, plus 6x. And the L, negative 3. That'll give me what? 16x squared. What's negative 8x plus 6x? Minus 2x minus 3. A couple more examples. Seven m minus n, 2m plus n. First, 7 times 2, 14m squared. O, that'll be 7 what? mn. I, 2mn. nm, mn is the same thing. I like to put them in alphabetical order. And this is the L, which is what? Negative n squared. Clean it. Plus 7 minus 2 is what? 5. Minus n squared. Again, you take the first term, multiply it through. You take the second one, multiply it through. The good news is, if you understand that, you can multiply even if the problem was bigger. What do I mean by that? Let's say I gave you this problem. I said, what is x plus 2 times x squared plus 3x minus the 1. It's not called the FOIL method here because you're going to have 6 pieces here. But the idea will be the same. Meaning what? You grab the x and you multiply it by every one of these first. And when you're done with that, you grab the plus 2 and multiply it by every one of these. So if we do that, What is x times x squared? I'm going the top one. X times x squared is what? X cubed. What's x times 3x? 3x squared. What's x times a minus 1? Negative x. That's the top. Now let's take the 2 and multiply it through. What's 2 times x squared? What's 2 times 3x? And what's 2 times a minus 1? And now we're just going to clean it. We take and put the answer in descending power. X to the third. Now notice these two are the same type. 3 and 2 is what? 5x squared. These two are the same type. Negative x plus 6x will make it what?
5x.
Plus 5x, good. You're adding, not multiplying here. And what, the last thing is what? The negative 2? One more of these, then we're done. We have time to squeeze in one more. Three x squared plus 7x times 8x to the third plus 9x squared minus 1. I'm going to do the same thing. I don't care if I have 3 terms there, 4, 5, 6, or 50. Three x squared times 8x cubed. 3 times 8 is what? 24x to what power? Fifth. Next one. 3 times 9. 27x to the fourth. The last one. 3 times a negative 1. Negative 3x squared. Now grab the 7x. 7x times 8x cubed. 7 times 8. Is that a 56? X to what power? 4. 7 times 9. Is that 63? X to what power? Third. And the last one. 7 times a negative 1. And now let's put them in descending power and collect like terms. I see the x to the fourth. I see 2 of them. 56 plus 27. Is that 83? I think it's 83 x to the fourth. The x cubed. Only got 1 x cubed, right? Looks like I only have 1 x cubed. I only have 1 x squared. I only have 1x.
You wrote a 2 next. Is that
63
It's cubed.
cubed, yep, thank you. And that's how we multiply. Couple more multiplication examples next class. We'll do division, then we're done. Then we're done with Algebra 1. Guess what Algebra 2 is? To take a problem like this, turn it back to this. That's called factoring.